There it is.
Well, Shaun Brock, general manager of and CEO, correct?
Yes.
General manager and CEO of the Lake Elsinore Storm California League, High A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Thank you for joining us on the Unity is Community podcast.
Welcome. You're welcome. It's good to be on.
You know, we had you on a couple of months ago with Feeding America because you guys had a pretty cool partnership going at that time, and we discussed a lot. Of course, COVID was a big topic, and that partnership had a lot to do with testing at the Diamond. One quick note here I want to talk about because I just read this. So the Diamond wins Best of Ballparks 2020 for High A affiliates throughout the U.S. Is that correct?
Yep. We're the best.
So what does that mean for the organization?
It means we get to put up a really cool banner. You know, it's like in New York, so best pizza in New York.
Uh-huh.
We get to say the same thing. It was really our fans that voted us in. They love us. We were able to put some really great, social media push on it. And I am biased, but I do think that especially with all the changes that we've gone through over the summer, in this extended off season, we really do have one of the best high A ballparks. I mean, I know that in our league, because I've been to all of the stadiums in our league, hands down, we beat everybody in the Cal League. But there's some really nice ballparks back in Florida, and we were able to edge them out in the Carolina and Florida League. So it's awesome.
Yeah, the Diamond is certainly a great place to watch a ball game, but when you think about it, we take the kids there, and the kids, they're not so much watching the game the whole time. They'll watch a couple of innings, and then they want to go down the right field line, and then they're out playing, right? And that's all part of the fun. You know what I saw in that bracket for this contest for best ballpark for High A affiliates? You guys were at 20th? Did I see that? It was kind of blurry in the article I read.
Yeah, we were very, very far down there.
Seeded 20th, I should say, yeah. To start it out. Seeded 20th. And I was surprised because I thought you guys would have been seeded 1 through 5 type of thing. And I saw 20th, and I'm like, who started this whole thing and who seeded everybody?
I think it's been off of previous years' history. This is the 4th year, I believe, that they were doing it. And, we've never really intentionally gone after any sort of accolades or awards, and we've never really been, gone down that road. But I think it's where we've always kind of just fell. So it was good to kind of be the underdog. I think that really helps really push a lot of it. And, just like you said, I mean, 95% of the people here at the end of the game, they don't know, what the score is. They may know if the Storm won that night. They don't know what the score is. It's really about creating those lasting memories and creating an experience, and that's what we strive for every time. And that's, again, with all of the changes that we've gone through, new video boards, the new restaurant. Like, I think that should solidify it, and again, us being creative in these times have helped a lot too.
Well, Shaun, there's a number of topics I want to cover. And, one of which is baseball on the field, obviously, that's looking at 2021, or it is 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And then business models, revenue streams for you guys, how this pandemic has really impacted your business, the business of minor league baseball, how you guys have been able to adapt and pivot, and some of the new things that you're doing to generate new revenue streams. How are we going to bring in dollars? And where I want to start here, and one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to have you on, because last time we talked about, hey, we were told, and this was in late March, I think, late March, early April. And at that time you said that ownership had committed to, hey, through June, I think you said that they were going to cover everything as far as salaries, and there was no revenue really coming in. And you guys make your money butts and seats, right? Having people in the ballpark. So I'm curious just to see where everything is at now, because there is no baseball at the minor league level, right? And how that's really affecting you guys as an organization. And then on a human level, the employees with the Storm, what's happened?
Well, yeah, ownership was gracious enough to give us through the June date with PPP. We were able to secure an amount of funding for that. Obviously, it wasn't enough, as most businesses are finding out, because it just keeps going longer and longer. We had to really, even in the very beginning, in March when we were talking, we had to sit down. My CFO, myself, and ownership had to sit down and go through and look at 15 different scenarios of, okay, if this, then that, if this, then that. And, when we would make, staffing reductions after ownership had dictated we're going to, where we were going to stay. And everything was really driven on, what, what changes had been made to what can be, what's allowable in Riverside County, what's allowable in, the state of California in terms of, field usage or, restaurants or all of those things. So, we had to sit there and make a lot of really, tough decisions at the end of June and find out, okay, well, we have no revenue, as you said, 76% of our revenue comes from, the either the fans, ticket attendance, parking, or the sponsorship deals that we do with local businesses, and all of that was, on hold and or gone for 2020. We've worked with businesses and fans to move some of that. Those monies to 2021 and in that season.
So that 24% remaining, is that from merchandise, or where does that money come from?
About 5% is merchandise. In previous years we've utilized our the Diamond Club, which we've rebranded. We've used the Diamond Club as an event and banquet space. Another thing that we've always relied on is our events, outside of baseball. Last year we had Nitro Circus here. We had West Coast Thunder here. So, and, field of our Halloween haunts. We've also had, last year we had Tough Mudder. So we'll get these larger events that use our venue, and we charge a rental fee, and or we get food and beverage, revenue off of it. And all of those again have been nixed as well.
all of your revenue streams are essentially nil.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
That's challenging, and so you guys have had to do what you've had to do, and you've had to reduce staff. Would you say 50-60% is where you're at now?
Yeah, I think we're right around 62 to 65%. Unfortunately, the pure baseball staff, the people that were just baseball and had most of their expertise in baseball, were the heaviest, I want to say, casualties. But I mean, those were the ones that we couldn't transition into some of our newer business models, so it was more difficult, and those were the ones that were the hardest. I mean,
Shaun, because when last we spoke, you said you guys are putting together a plan as a league, I believe, California League, or you guys are doing it individually and bunching it together. So that plan, what plan did you guys come up with, if you don't mind sharing, as to how the game day environment was going to look when everything was supposed to come back? What did you guys determine was going to be feasible and safe?
Yeah, so we kind of followed. We were looking at a 25% occupancy rate, and then following all the cleaning, social distance guidelines, moving mostly cashless. Even 25% occupancy, while on a Saturday and Sunday is easy and would have been great. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the slower days, it didn't. There wasn't enough, across the board to make it, because we maxed out, I think, at 2,300 seats. So it was going to be difficult at 25%, occupancy, but we would have ended up, doing better in the long run because it is actually some revenue. Maybe we could have, increased the price on some of those.
So 25%. What does that look like in a stadium? Like every 4 seats?
Yeah,
seats type of thing?
it's about every 5-6 seats.
Okay.
And it's not, it's, you have a cluster of 4 seats, a cluster of 2 seats, and we would be selling the seats as 4s and 2s throughout the stadium. And, we'd have to do a lot of restrictions and have tape and all of that stuff. But it worked. It worked. We went through and mapped it all out. And I think, like I said, it was about 2,200 seats is what we pinged at. And then all of the cleaning protocols that were in place. I think a lot of movie theaters are doing somewhat similar. I mean, obviously California hasn't reopened the movie theaters, but movie theaters have along the same lines.
Well, Shaun, what's interesting? I was watching ESPN, and I really don't watch ESPN anymore. I don't watch TV too often anymore. But they had a cornhole tournament. I think it was in Vegas, and it was indoors, and they had fans. I mean, they had fans. They probably had like 50 people in there, maybe it's 100, and they weren't necessarily spaced out. And that was indoors, right? And so apparently COVID, according to a number of studies, UV kills COVID almost instantaneously or instantly. And they were doing this stuff indoors. I just question a lot of stuff. And you're watching Major League Baseball, and capacity is anywhere from low 40s to maybe even 70 in some of them. And they can't figure out anything there. It's kind of, to me, the whole thing is kind of insane. And I'm a person who likes to leave it up to people to decide for themselves based on the information that they deem to be credible and their own experiences. So this whole thing, I just question a lot of it. I hate to see minor league baseball not in action right now. And no one's talking about the jobs. No one's talking about the jobs and the people that are directly affected, right? And that's huge. So what if some of these folks, paycheck to paycheck, what do they do? Where do they go? There's not a lot of opportunity right now. And we did a follow-up with Feeding America. Do you know how many people they fed over the first 13 weeks of the shutdown, the pandemic? You know how many people?
I don't, but I remember it was an insane number when we talked to them about it on the last time. What was the number?
It was 41,000 through the first 6 weeks. Normally, they would have fed under 100 people.
That's insane.
Right? Under 100. Now, the first 13 weeks, they wound up feeding 98,000 people. And normally, Shaun, they would have fed only around 200 people. So when you just look at this stuff, and no one's really reporting on any of this, and the lives that are really impacted are staggering. And the only thing people are talking about are cases. Who's dying? What healthy people are dying? That's what healthy people are dying. And there's always going to be exceptions. There's always exceptions. And I've heard people talk about that, but I know one person who got COVID. She was a nurse, and she got it at work, right? And so she quarantined and she recovered fine, right? But I don't know. I talked to a lot of people, and there's not a lot of people directly and even know people that have gotten COVID. So when you just look at it, all the things that, I just kind of laid out there, you have to question some things. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah,
yes and no?
I agree. I mean, I've known 4 people that have gotten it and 1 that's passed away. So, I mean, and they were relatively healthy, but I mean, obviously, people that, there are people that are unhealthy are going to, if they do contract it, I go both ways. I take care of myself. I take care of my family. I know that Texas, has allowed for, I think they have collegiate games going on and they have fans in stands.
Utah.
Utah
is having a full slate of high school football.
Well, in a lot of travel ball teams. So we've been talking with some of them. A lot of travel ball teams are going to Utah and some of the other states, and they're playing where normally they'd be playing in California, not necessarily here, but they'd be playing in California, and they're playing off in other states and everything like that. I know that our biggest challenge when we were looking at, the spacing and all of those things for the stadium, the biggest challenge actually wasn't the amount of space and getting the 6 feet and getting up to the 2,000, people. It was literally the common areas and, bringing people in, where normally we would only open up, our first base and our third base gates for the, the VIPs or the season ticket holders. So, to bring in 2,000 people, you have to have ingress and egress where they're not all clumped together, so we'd have to open up all 3 gates. So that's a staffing issue. Same thing with, with concessions, with 2,000 people, I would only open up 1 stand and maybe a few other minor things, but to keep people apart, we would have to open up triple that so that people are staying, so following a lot of those guidelines. That's where the challenge was, is, and even in one of those 60,000, seat stadiums, it's not so much the seating, which you got tons of seating, people could stay apart, you're great there. It's, those common areas as people are walking and getting too close and being people and letting their guard down. And, I don't know. I go back and forth. I tend to think, I wear a mask when I'm out. I'm doing my part for other people, and if I get it, will it be, I've been tested 3 times, mostly proximity.
What test did you take, or what test have you taken?
I've done the sterility test once because, back in the early days, I was convinced, I was sick in February. It was probably, I probably had it, like a lot of people said. So I did the blood test to see if the antibodies, that was negative. And then we had 2 other instances where people that we know were close to had it. So it would have been, there could have been a chance of me getting it or my wife getting it. So, we both tested. I took it here at the stadium. The
PCR test.
Yeah, the one that goes in the back of your brain and it makes you forget things.
So
or whatever.
I have a friend who works at a biomed facility, and she was saying they just launched a new PCR test that's it's supposed to be 98% accurate. So the accuracy is supposed to be 98%. And I guess where it's at before, all the other ones were at about 60%. So it's supposed to be a game changer, I guess. So we'll see what happens there. But that's really good news in it of itself. And we just live in crazy times. And I'm always, as a business owner, and you're running a business, you're always thinking about the impact on people, right? Whether it is with the disease, the virus, whatever you want to call it, or it's with your employees and their jobs and their well-being and making a living. So it's just kind of nuts. A friend of mine told me you guys have been doing a drive-in type of thing.
Yeah. So not too long after we talked, I think it was the end of May, we started doing drive-ins. We had in part of our remodel that we were already planning on doing, we purchased a brand new projector for the tap room. We ended up purchasing a bigger one than we normally would have.
Really?
And we were just gonna do a 6,000 lumen projector just for PowerPoint presentations. We ended up getting a 12,000 lumen projector, a nice big one. Spent a little bit more money, and then we got an inflatable screen, and we moved one of our Conics or our C-bin boxes into the front of the stadium, and we blow the screen up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights and project the movies. And we've been doing for about 70 cars. We've been doing it since we've been doing it since May. It's been great. Mostly selling out. Some, depending on the movie, we're doing all older movies. So, we started off with the baseball tropes in the beginning, and then we kind of, shifted gear. Back to the Future is always a great seller.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah.
It's a lot of that nostalgia, and we're kind of even transitioning now for September and October. you know, we're actually transitioning the movies for those months to more fundraisers. So, you know,
So how does, and I was told about that. How does that work?
So what we're doing is we're charging basically just to cover the cost to be there. We're charging $10 a car. You know, that's what we charge for them to come. That gets the licensing taken care of, pays for the couple of employees. They can charge whatever they want. They get 70 tickets. They can go charge $20 a car, $30 a car, $50 a car. It doesn't matter to me. As long as, you know, we get our 10, they charge whatever they want. They get the difference therein. And then 20% of the restaurant, which our restaurant was one of the other things that we had started in February and then closed and now open. We're open in the out on the deck, and we've got tons of outdoor seating. 20% of the restaurant sales that are derived from the people going to the drive-in, we also give back to the fundraisers. So, you know, it's kind of a win-win for them, and, you know, we encourage it. And, you know, again, right now, fundraisers are almost non-existent. Yeah, a lot of the sports are non-existent, but, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, the candy bars door to door, all of that stuff, it's kind of gone. So, you know, we saw a need, and, you know, it's much easier if they try to sell the movies and they try to do it versus, you know, me trying to throw it on social media.
So Shaun, you guys are just basically covering costs with the $10 per car.
Yep.
And everyone, so if we brought our softball team up there and whomever else we bring up there, that's up to us to determine what we want to raise, and we do that. So you guys are just putting out a really cool service, and even the 20% at the restaurant as well. And you said you guys just renovated that?
Yeah. So in February, we, again, as I said earlier, it used to just be we rent it out for catering, and we do catering Christmas season and, you know, weddings, receptions, everything like that throughout the year. We changed in February to make it a full-time restaurant. We call it the Diamond Taproom. I mean, it's got an amazing view. You sit out on the deck, you look at the field, you know, and then COVID hit, and we kind of struggled through that, and we shut down, and then now we've reopened out on the deck in around the same time as we started movies in June. And it's been great, you know. So we've got a full-time restaurant, you know, burgers, hot dogs, you know, fish and chips, cool. You know, kind of ballpark fare, really great food, a full bar, and it supports.
And I would like to say this too. If you guys haven't been to the Diamond, it's a heck of a place. It's just a fun place. Even without baseball games going on, because I've been there a number of times when games weren't going on. And the restaurant's super cool. So you walk in, and then you got the patio that's overlooking the field, right? And It's shaded in the afternoon. It's shaded. So it's nice to be outside. You get to enjoy being outside. You get to have fun with some friends. You get to have a few drinks. You know, I just think it's a cool place. I haven't been up in a while. I just learned about the drive-in thing. I think that's something we're going to have to do. But I just wanted to say that because it's just a fun place, regardless if games are going on or not.
And in addition to that, we have, again, some of the changes that we had already been planning on and done. There's 15 TVs out there now on the deck. So, you know, we've got all the games going on. And then literally yesterday, we just installed a whole misting system for that deck area. So not only is it shaded, but it's also about 20 degrees cooler than it normally is because of that. So, you know, we've got our outside bar. It's just a killer spot. And then at night, you know, we kick on some of the field lights, so it shines down on the field. So again, it's just a great vibe and great feel.
So what does it look like for, you know, bringing kids, or is it more of an adult thing right now?
No, it's just like it, you know, it's normal with the kids. I mean, you know, a lot of times we've actually found that parents will come, you know, to the more kid-friendly movies, leave the kids in the car, and then they'll come have a drink in the tap room while the movie's playing. I mean, I don't know if I condone that, as long as the kids are old enough to do that.
Yeah.
But it's great. I mean, you know, eventually, once we're able to move back inside, we actually have 12 Xboxes, 2 gaming computers, and Switches and TVs all in there to make it like we're calling it the E zone. We just haven't launched it yet because, as everything finished up, it's when we couldn't do anything inside. So we even have places for kids to go. And, that was all part of the new 2021, 2020 stuff was we were going to have kind of an esports, a game, a gaming center for the kids to go hang out while the parents are, doing their thing. So it's really unique and neat. We bought a stage for down there. Again, as everything was happening, we had live music down there, which we had to stop. I think we had to stop in July. So handcuffs, but
Wait, you guys had? Where did you have live music?
We had it out on the deck. So we had live music. We had a stage. We had live music. Right.
And you had to stop that?
Huh? Oh yeah. That was according to the to the rules and regulations and all the closures, stuff like that. Live music hasn't been approved since all the shutdowns. They came out with another. They didn't specifically lay it out until they came out with another mandate in, I think, July. I think there's still live music going on in some places, like they're doing it in Orange County. They're doing it in some places in San Diego. But again, I've known a local restaurant, somewhat local restaurant that got dinged for dining inside. I don't want to deal with those fines or those things. So we're following the rules and regulations as
How much is a fine? Do you know?
Yes, she got it. It's a summons. It's a $10,000 fine and community service, and it went to the manager in charge on duty. So it was pretty intense because they were feeding inside, and it wasn't. It was
Shaun, your video. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry, phone call coming through. It was actually ABC that imposed it. So they're the ones, because dining they were drinking inside. I mean, they were dining too, but they were drinking inside, and that's.
And so this is all based on executive order?
Yes, and that's again, where the sheriff. We've got a great relationship with the sheriff. If I had.
Yeah, he's a common sense dude from what I've seen and read.
Yeah, if we had dining inside, the sheriff's not going to do anything. Like they're not going to come and give us a hard time. But who would? But what is on the line is our ABC license, and for us.
But legally, how could they revoke that? How could they take it away legally? Based on what laws? And I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm asking.
I have no clue, and it'll be interesting to see when the friend of mine that got the citation. I'm kind of interested to see how it goes through, and what the ramifications are. But I know that and it would have to be somewhere in ABC, the alcohol bureau, their mandates, whereas they can dictate where you can and can't serve. So right now they're allowing people to serve outside. They're allowing people to serve on the patios. They're allowing Chili's to serve a margarita to go. But I think within that same structure, they can mandate that you can't serve indoors because they set those requirements. And that's where and I don't know 100%, but
the margarita to go, like it's so. Don't get me wrong, like it's you got to do what you got to do, but there's just a lot of impact on people any way you look at it. So wow, that's nuts. I think that's really cool with the drive-in, with the fundraising. I think that's something we're gonna have to do. That sounds like a fun time. Let's talk a little bit about baseball, really quick. So 2021, can you guys survive until April, March of 2020? And what does it look like? What meetings have you been on for minor league affiliates, whether it's low A, high A? It doesn't matter. I mean, individually, you guys are running your own business. How are these affiliates going to survive that long?
So I'll go with the very, very immediate, what we look at here today, and then we'll go with the larger holy shit we don't know question. The immediate is that we have about I would say 20% of our overall sponsorships and tickets for 2020 that we had already sold and received money for, is now into 2021. So, we've taken 20% of our budget and, from this year and put it into 2021, which is great that we had partners that said, yeah, just throw my money to 2021. The challenge is that we spent that money back in February. I mean,
of course,
payroll, everything, everything like that. So now we're looking at 2021 as, yes, we're going to fulfill all of our sponsorship needs, or we're going to fulfill these ticket needs, with a credit, and we'll realize that revenue in 2021 because it's deferred revenue, but it's still not cash that's coming in. So we're going to be starting at a 20% deficit in our budgets because it's money we've already had, and we've paid payroll and all of those things. So that's been part of what we're looking at. So we know that we're going to, even going into 2021, we're going to be leaner and meaner, and try to do more with a lot less, which is it is always the goal, but it's already thrown on us because we have that set there. So that is us right now where we're sitting and we're looking at it. The bigger picture is actually, we don't know, because, I don't know if you've been up to date with the PBA stuff. Our contract with minor league baseball, or minor league baseball's contract with Major League Baseball, ends on September 30th.
Wow.
And it's always been contentious back and forth, but this year has been even more so. Now there's a lot of bright things that are looking really good, but there's also some things that are looking really, really scary. Originally back in February, March, when they had started talking before COVID, they were talking, there's 162 teams that would have been starting in 2020. Or 2021, there was 162 teams. Major League Baseball obviously pays for all of my players. I don't pay them a paycheck. Major League Baseball, handles all of their training, their pay, and all of those things. And then in the PBA is that our negotiation with Major League Baseball. I pay for busing and hotels. They pay for food and their salaries, and it's that sort of how our relationship works. Well, at the end of 2020, that goes away, and Major League Baseball in the very beginning said, we don't want to have 162 teams. We only want to field 120 teams because it makes more financial sense for them. They've got minimum wage issues that they have to deal with the lower guys. I mean, our guys at this level, they don't make a ton of money. And in the lower levels, it's even less. So they've got issues that they've got to rectify. So the easiest way for them is to take 42 teams and get rid of them. So it's 100 down to 120. We were never on the first list that was thrown around. Lancaster was.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of other teams back east that were on that first list. Essentially, the first list was some of the slower ballparks, and the short season would have gone away, and it makes sense. That made sense. Well, as Major League Baseball was dealing with them having a season, no season, shutting down, doing all the things that they were doing, the negotiations just stopped. And which is great. That's fine. They were dealing with everything that they were dealing with. And then as negotiations kind of started back up again, the biggest push was that, there's two offices. There's Major League's office in New York, and then there's a minor league office in St. Petersburg, where Pat O'Connor is our president of minor league baseball. And that's who we affiliate with and everything going. Major League Baseball basically told the minor league offices, or all of the teams, listen, everything that minor league is doing for you, that's great. We can do it better and cheaper. We pay 8% of our ticket tax. 8% of our tickets go to St. Petersburg to pay salaries and do all the stuff that they do for us. Major League Baseball said, hey, you can keep that money. We don't want it, but we will help grow everything and make the partnership better, and it helps them because then now they've got a strong relationship with the minor league affiliates, and it helps funnel everything through. So while that sounded great to a lot of the ownership, it sounded great to us. I mean, we wouldn't be an affiliate of the Padres. We would be a franchise of the Padres, which
Okay.
Legal mumbo jumbo aside, it's a stronger relationship and a longer relationship, and it makes everything better. But all of St. Petersburg would essentially go away. So St.
So
Petersburg.
does that mean there's more of a rev share type of thing?
There is and there isn't. So what would happen was minor league baseball would be made more whole. So we wouldn't be we'd be doing less of a rev share. Because again, right now 8% goes to St. Petersburg. If everything went the way they wanted to, nothing would go to St. Peter. It would go to New York. And in fact, they would get us better deals and contracts on a national level because they do a deal with Modelo on the national scale and say, oh yeah, by the way, it's not only in the 30 major league ballparks, but it's also in 120 minor league ballparks. It's more leverage for them, and then they can get everybody else a bigger piece of the pie. Up until this point, those have always been separate. Major league has their deals, minor league has their national league deals. So from our standpoint, it sounded great. There's just been a lot of contention back and forth. Pat O'Connor fired the original negotiating committee, installed one that was more around, his ideals and what he wanted, obviously, to keep his job. The board of trustees dissolved that, and they put another one together that Pat O'Connor finally, adopted because he didn't want to get pushed out, I guess, I'm assuming. So it's in a weird place. We don't know what the next round is. From what we've heard, we have a meeting every other week with the Cal League and with one of the board of trustees on the negotiating committee. He said that Major League Baseball has a document of what they think the relationship should look like, but because of all of our own infighting, and not us locally, but with minor leagues infighting and different teams, they've held on to it. So now that this new team is in place, we're thinking that we're going to see that document. And again, a lot of the changes are, there'll probably be 70 teams that end up going away, and there are some teams that will probably have
70.
gone away. Yeah.
So are they? So as far as the draft, are they condensing that, contracting that? Because and didn't they do that this year a little bit too? Because
that's what I was going to say. The draft was already contracted, so it's going to be interesting. Like, even though minor league baseball was pushing for 160 teams, the draft had already been contracted. So even if there were 160 teams, there's not there's not enough players to fill those slots. And it'll be even interesting to see if there's enough players to fill our slots with the way the draft was ran and how contracted it was. There's also talk of us flipping from high A to low A here, or theoretically we could jump up to triple A. Double A is out of the question. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of things on the table. But
so the Storm potentially could be triple A.
Well, we could also be single A.
Low A.
Low A.
Low A.
Yeah, we could never go double because there's not a league around us. There's no double A teams anywhere around us. All the double A.
What's the San Jose Giants? What are they?
They're high A. They're us.
They're high A. Okay.
Yeah, triple A. There is the Fresno Grizzlies, which there was talk of moving them down to our league. There is the Las Vegas Aces. The Pacific League. There's triple A ballparks out here, so we could fit into that. It would be interesting. Out of all of the stadiums that are in our Cal League, we're the only one that would be, a fit for that, unless they built another ballpark, which I doubt that. But yeah, the other option is, instead of us being high A, we go down to low A. I don't think that affects us anything other than instead of playing 70 games, we would probably play 60 games, which again, we would have.
You know why I like high A ball? Because everyone's going through high A ball. Your elites, your blue, the highly drafted guys, young free agent guys, they're all coming through high A ball. Triple A, yeah. By the time they get to double A, if they're studs, they're going to get called up, right? And you may not be able to see those guys, but I guess Elsinore, San Diego, but part of the part of the dynamic of going to the diamond is it's that fun of being there, you know, with the family, and then seeing these kids that are supposed to be, you know, the next Fernando Tatis Juniors, right?
We didn't get Tatis.
Paddox, who's struggling, Denelson Laments, you know, all those guys. So yeah, I don't know. I want to see you guys stay high A ball if I could, but I have nothing to do with it. That's just my opinion.
I mean, we don't have anything to do with it anyway, you know, either. It's all the people that make way more money than all of us combined in a room doing the things that they do best. I mean, again, we're one of the focuses, and I think that, you know, with the drive-in, with the restaurant, with you know, we've got some field usage, and everything that we're doing now is, you know, really driving. We are baseball. That's why we're here. We're, you know, like Elsinore Storm baseball. I've got a baseball diamond, but and it's even driven the rest of the industry to think outside that baseball box. You know, baseball's amazing, but like I've said before, you know, you know, our level of baseball, people aren't, you know, they're not taken away with the scores. You know, maybe 10% of them are, you know, really are on fire for, you know, Storm high A baseball, but the rest, it's a great family time. And, you know, we've got to cater to that and bring, you know, use our venue for that type of thing, and be more diversified. I mean, and that's what a lot of teams have had to try to do, is be more diversified. And, you know, and that was at the winter meetings last year. That was a big thing, is, you know, not that baseball's changing, but the audience is changing, and we've got to meet the audience and try to, you know, pull them in. And, you know, again, it may not be the same thing that you've always done. You know, it's not going to work. You know, if you always do the same thing, you're going to get the same result every single time.
Hey, Albert Einstein, his definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So,
exactly.
Shaun, what's your prediction as we sum all this up? What's going to happen with minor league baseball? What do you think's going to happen? Not to say, you know, I want to preface this to everybody. This is not gospel here. I'm just asking your opinion. How is it going to succeed going forward? And what do you think it's going to look like in 2021?
You know, I think, you know, either way, either minor league baseball comes to an agreement with Major League Baseball and goes away, that it really doesn't matter. You know, the agreement's probably going to expire in September. And if it expires in September, you know, Major League Baseball is going to get what they want anyways. If they let it expire, they can then just come to, you know, our ownership group and say, hey, listen, we want you to be a part of the Padres. Here's what it looks like. So either way, the low form of baseball is going to continue on. Minor league baseball is going to continue on because Major League needs it. It needs the infusion of, you know, the excitement. It needs the, you know, the homegrown, you know, stuff, you know, where 30, you know, big league parks can't, you know, fulfill that.
Well, you got to, well, what people need to understand, and most people understand this, I think, is that the whole point for minor league baseball is development, right?
Yes.
And it's usually designed for the guys that are drafted higher, the free agent signing studs that they're getting out of the Caribbean, and that type of thing. But the rest of the guys are just filling in to help develop that talent, and you never know what can happen. You know, guy drafted in the 30th round, 50th round, Mike Piazza, what was he, 62nd round? You never know. And so that's kind of the dream, but really the whole point is to develop the highly drafted guys. But that's kind of the beauty of it. That doesn't always happen. You get the guys 13th round, 14th round, 20th, whatever, and they wind up making it. But either way, it's just so much fun, and I hope everyone can figure it out.
I do too, and I think, again, with our facility, what we are, we meet all the requirements. You know, we've got to do some cosmetic stuff in the locker room to make it, you know, to make it pretty, and we've got to do some rearranging in there for the new standards that they want. But Storm baseball, no doubt in my mind that it continues on, you know, as an affiliate, a franchise, whatever. Now, if we're Padres or not, that's the other question. I don't know. You know, I mean, again, if the playing field gets a little more narrow, could we go back to Angels? Could we go to Dodgers? We are technically in both of those places home network. Like,
right.
I can't promote that I'm like where the 66ers can have the same bobblehead that they had at Angel Stadium, and the Quakes can have the same thing for the Dodgers. They can have the same bobbleheads, and they can, have Dodgers night, everything like that. I can't do that with the Padres because I'm in the Angels Dodgers market share. So it's really weird how it works, but I can't co-brand with the Padres as it stands. That may change. So, but as the, how that moves forward, I think we're fine. We've got, and our ownership group is really, really well versed with all that stuff. And again, we're the jewel.
Well, if you're
stadium,
if you're a franchise, then you'd probably have the
Yes.
rights to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I'm hoping it opens things up. What 2021 looks like, my gut is that, we get a vaccine, somewhere in November, December, and, it starts to get rolling around, and, we're going to be on pins and needles in, March, April, whether, there's enough loosening to at least have 50% capacity. But I think that
Really?
I think April, May. Yeah.
50%? It's insane. It's insane.
If we were in any other state, if we were in, Arizona, Nevada, anything like that, I would say we would be business as usual. But
honestly, in my opinion, Shaun, I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, I'm sure you've noticed I'm highly opinionated. But I really think it depends on what happens November 3rd, and depending on who wins, is going to depend on if we open up or not. Just my thoughts, could be completely wrong, but that's what it's pointing towards, in my opinion. I hope that, because there already are therapeutics out there that have worked and are working, and there's a number of studies that have come out of Europe as well and here in the United States, but that's not talked about. And that's just crazy, 50% in 2021. I'm sorry, but that you said that
it's
number.
California.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's California. I mean, again, if we were in Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Florida, you're great. But even no matter what happens November 3rd, Governor Newsom's still our governor. I mean, they can push. But,
yes, but we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? That's a whole can of worms there. But you know what the good news is, and just I'm going to recap this. Everybody wants to get out and do something with the family, have a fun night out. When's the last time you've been to the drive-in? I haven't been in years. I'm probably going to take the kids up. We may bring our travel ball team up there, do a fundraiser. So I think that's outstanding. Plus the restaurant's open. If you want to go in there for a few minutes, I think that's great. Obviously everybody can go and have fun. So there's that. What else? You got the drive-in. What else am I missing?
We've been contacted, and we've been working with some other scout teams that and stuff like that. They've been utilizing the field on Saturdays and Sundays. They're coming in. They're bringing scouts, and they're doing high intensity drills, and so that's it's been great to have the field actually be worked out. We've got a couple other things up our sleeve that we'll be releasing soon that I just haven't gotten everything done, so I'm not gonna push that out.
Yeah. Well, it's an excellent venue. I actually have a couple of thoughts. So after we get done here, I want to share those with you briefly. But Shaun, this has been outstanding. Thank you very much for the update. Let's pray that everything gets back to normal here soon. Everyone stays safe, healthy, and happy. Read everything you can. Do a bunch of research and make the decisions that you're comfortable with you and your family. Just my thoughts. I could be completely wrong with everything, but speak out, speak your mind, and have some fun with it. But stay safe. Shaun, what say you? Last words.
Stay safe. I mean, that's kind of where we are. Stay safe, and keep positive. I mean, it's crappy now, but it gets better. I mean, I know that a lot of people have been being down, but there's always something that you can do.
And Shaun, how do people follow the Lake Elsinore Storm?
Well, we've got our website. It's milb.lakeelsinorestorm. We also have a lot of our information is shifted to the diamondtaproom.com. That's where we've got the restaurant. We've got the drive-in stuff. We've got comedy going on Sunday nights up here on the patio. So social distance, all that stuff. So that's another great place. It's got pretty much everything that we're doing that's not baseball.
So diamondtaproom.com. You can find really everything you want there as far as special events and entertainment, right? What about Instagram, Twitter, any of that, Facebook?
Yeah, I don't know what those are. I should know them, but Storm Baseball or Lake Elsinore Storm, okay. I believe is all that. And diamondtaproom.com as well. Or Diamond Taproom has an Instagram and all that stuff. It's all linked together. So.
Awesome. Well, Shaun, I really do appreciate it. Lake Elsinore Storm General Manager and CEO. Thank you for taking the time, Shaun Brock, everybody. I'm Matt Sully, and we'll talk to everyone later on the Unity is Community podcast. Thank you for watching.